Everybody, this is Travis. Going to give you another tutorial on web designing development, and I'm going to show you guys how to install Lightbox onto your HTML file and to make your pictures look a lot more well, to make it look better. I'm going to show you to where you click on your picture and it shows does this right here, little photo gallery imagery here, and it automatically adjusts to the size, as you can tell. Just like so, and then when you click off of it, it clicks off just like that with the X button. Or it also tells you the caption here, Old Rugged Church, or whatever you named it. Tells you what image it is, 3 of 9, and you can also X out of it from here as well. In fact, if you were to look down, the whole backdrop here is grayed out. So go ahead, you can X out of it that way as well. And you can do as many pictures as you want. I just happen to have 9 on here. Of course, you can do as many as you want. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So I'm going to X out of this. Okay, so you have a web page, for example. It's got your photo gallery. So far we have nothing on this. That's where I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the folder that I have. So in my folder, all I have is my images. I have my CSS, and I have my HTML. That's all I have. Nothing special. That's it. Now, so what you want to do, first thing you want to do is you want to go to Google. Type in jQuery Lightbox jQuery. Search for it. Should be the second one, at least it was for me. You want to go ahead and download it. Save the file. And I've downloaded other ones for because I was trying to do this tutorial. You want to extract all. I'm going to take a few seconds. Alright. One of the first things you want to do is you want to open it up and you want to make sure that it's named Lightbox. It's going to be pertinent later on. Otherwise, you have to change the name of it in other spots. But to make it easier, just make sure it's named Lightbox. Sometimes, depending on the downloading source, it might be Lightbox 1.2-3, whatever the most updated one is. Okay, so we're gonna leave that down here for now. We're gonna go back here. And if you notice below, it's got some instructions on how to use it. So we're going to do exactly what the instructions tell us. Even though I already know how to do it, but just so you guys know that I'm going to go through the instructions, so there's no steps skipped. First thing it tells me is to download it and extract it. We just did that. Second thing is to copy this script here. So we're going to copy it. Go to our HTML file. And we're going to paste it on the top here. And just for etiquette's sake, I'm going to fix the indentation. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Nothing so far happened because it's inside a folder called JS. And so we need to go ahead and fix that, because if you notice in our photo gallery, we don't have a folder called JS. Which leads me to the next step, which is to open the Lightbox that you just downloaded. And I want you to take all the folders. So I'm hitting Control and I'm selecting each of these and move it into your folder that you're doing your web page on. Just like so. Inside your images folder is going to be blank with the exception of the close, loading, next, and previous. It's got a demo page here. You don't need that. You can simply delete it. And your JS file, of course, will contain all that. So now your folder is reading it because it has a JS for the folder name. The next thing I would do, you don't necessarily have to do this. I'm going to do it because it's a lot simpler and because it references it later, is I'm going to copy all these images that I have in the spirit of not skipping any steps here. I want to copy all these images, and I'm hitting Control while I'm doing this, Control and left mouse button. That should be all of them, all 9 of them. And I'm going to put them into the images folder. Okay, and that should be good. Now I could do this with that too, but it's fine. So we're done with that. Let's read the next step. It says look inside the CSS folder and you'll find the lightbox.css, which we did already. If if you notice, well, we don't need this anymore actually. If you notice in our folder, you look at CSS, and it's got the Lightbox CSS, and it indeed does. Just trying to show you that you do have all the things. And go ahead and copy this link, this script here, whatever, or this information, and you can do the same thing. You're going to paste it in here, and you notice it's pinging, or it's referencing the CSS folder. So save. And now we're going to look inside the images folder, and you're going to notice the close, loading. We already did all that. Next thing we're going to do is we want to turn it on. Now this is the magic behind everything. We're going to add a data-lightbox attribute to the image link. This in essence is going to activate the lightbox. This is very important. In fact, it gives you an example down here of how to do it. So I'm going to simply copy the example just to make things easy. I'm going to go to my HTML file where the images are stored. In this case it is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy it right here. So I'm going to hit Control V. And also, just the note here, you're going to end your A tag. Oops, I'm sorry, before the div. You're going to end your A tag right here. Okay? And you're going to do that for all of these. In fact, what you're going to do is you're going to take whatever the name of your image is. In my case, the name of the image is, go back to my image folder. Let's say I want to do this autumn one first. It's an autumn.jpg. So I would rename it autumn.jpg. And you notice it's in the image folder. That's why I stuck all the images in there, so I don't have to redo that later. This has to be stayed the same. The data title is your caption. So I'm going to say beautiful autumn day, or whatever. Or whatever your image is about. Image 1 here, you're going to delete this because we have it inside a thumbnail, which is why we have this image tag in there. And we're going to go and delete this A tag that's right here. That was put in there. And that's it. And you're going to do that for all of them. In fact, let me go ahead and save that. And let me go ahead and hit preview. I'm using Komodo text editor, by the way. And oh, I know why it's not showing up, because I forgot to put it in the other spot. Under images, you need to put the same thing we did over there. So I need to put img/autumn.jpg. My fault, folks. I'm going to hit reload, and the first one should show up, and it does. So I'm going to do that for all the rest of them, and I'll be right back with the rest of the coding. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video until I'm done with the rest of these. Okay guys, I'm back. So what I did is I filled in the rest of the information with the rest of the images that I have. Of course, leaving the image 1 here like I'm supposed to, and of course changing all the captions, and of course placing all the appropriate images as necessary. So when I go ahead and save that and I preview it, as you can see, they all show up now, just as I wanted. So I'm gonna go ahead and X out this other one. We don't need that no more. So when I click on it, it does exactly what I want to do, and it goes to the next image, precisely the way I want it to. Now, the one thing though is there is something that we are missing from this, and I'm going to go ahead and X out of this. We are missing the opacity. Remember I was telling you about how to make this more opaque. Now, if you don't want to add any extra zazz to all this, the tutorial's over with. You're done. But if you do want to know how to make this more opaque, gives a better user experience, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. Okay, so the Lightbox, everything is done for Lightbox, so we're going to go back up to Photo. X out of this. We're going to start a new script. Type text/JavaScript, like where we always start. And we're going to use the power of jQuery. Well, since jQuery is already loaded on here from the Lightbox, we're going to go ahead and utilize it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to name something, I'm going to give something a variable called TRP photo. That stands for transparent photo. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to make it equal to a function.
like so. Okay, and I want to be able to reference this function back and call it whenever I need it, or reference this function. So what I'm going to do at the very bottom is I'm going to go document.ready, which is a jQuery saying, in other words, when all the HTML has loaded, that's what this means, that when it's ready, you're going to fire off this function. And of course the function we're going to fire off will be trp photo. Now, of course, nothing will happen yet because we didn't put nothing in here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to reference a jQuery, my jQuery class called Gallery, which I spelled it wrong. And I'm going to use a function called bind, or a method called bind. And that's how you would do the bind method here. And but the reason why what bind does is it binds two events. Well, I want to do two events. I want it to where you're mousing over something and when you're mousing out of something. So naturally, the first thing I want is mouse over. You want to put a colon there, and then you want to make this into a function. Just like so. So far everything's good. Also, we want to do the same thing with the next one. So we're going to put a comma here, and we're going to do a mouse out. It's going to be a function like so. Okay. Inside the mouse over function, we are going to reference the actual divs that containing these particular pictures. So let's do that. If mine is called Photo Divs. That's what the class is named. Oh, I forgot to put the dot. I forgot to put the dot here too. You're supposed to put the dot here for classes and the number for IDs. So make sure you put that dot in there. And then I want to put dot each. Now the each method in jQuery goes through the indexes. So in other words, I have 9 pictures. Well, in programming, indexes always start with 0. So it'll go through 0 through 8. That's what the dot each does. And I need that in order for it to go through one of the pictures at a time instead of making it all opaque. So I use the dot each, and that is a function as well. And I want to go ahead and reference that. Okay. So far we really haven't done anything. We're just trying to reference everything here. The next thing I want to do is I want to make an if statement. I want to say if, and oh, that's weird. Go back up here. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I want to make an if statement. So I want to say if this dot is, oops, forgot to put the hover, then I want to perform the following condition. Now, okay, so basically I'm telling this right now that if this, now this is in reference to whatever element you're talking about. In this particular instance, if is in reference to the photo divs, but more specifically, if it's in reference to the photo divs, the index of them, which gets the specific images instead of just the all of them all at once. That's why I absolutely needed that each in there. Okay, and the thing I want to do is I want to reference the photo div, so I got to call this again. And I want to say, and I can do, actually, let's go this dot style dot opacity equals 0.7. I could have picked anything, but that's just the one I happen to pick. In the mouse out function, you're going to do basically the same thing, except you're going to take out that style attribute.
So what I'm going to do to make things simple is I'm going to go ahead and copy this, just like so. Control C, like that. Now obviously I got to change some things around. Each function is still going to be in there. The if.is the hover still going to be there, but this time it's going to be this.style opacity equals. You could go 1. You certainly could do that. Only problem is that adds extra memory to your HTML file, so that may not necessarily be the greatest thing to do. Rather, the best thing I think to do would be to call this again. Again, this is in reference to photo diz, but specifically each of the indexes of it. And dot remove attribute style. Because I'm giving it a style here, now I want it to remove the style here. Now if I were to save this, this should work. At least I hope it does. Hit reload here. Okay. Notice when I hover over it, the opacity or gets more transparent here. When I get off of it, you know, it resumes back to its normal condition. So I should be able to do that for all of them, and indeed it does. Now if I click on this, everything still works like it's supposed to. Yes, it does. Okay, I'm going to exit out of this now. And it does that for all the images. So that's how you would simply add a little extra zazz to this. Now I specifically want to show you guys what exactly is happening. So I'm going to open up Firebug here. I want to show you exactly the JavaScript that's firing off here, or the jQuery I should say. So let me go to my main section, photo container. Okay, the gallery. Okay. Take a look here. Once I hover over an image, look what happens to this div here. Once I hover over it, notice it adds the style opacity 0.7, and when I take off it deletes it. That's exactly what I want to do. That's what that remove attribute does. So I can go like this, so on and so forth, and it's deleting it each time. Okay, so I want to show you that. Now another way you could have done this, in fact this is probably a better way, is to, in your style sheet, you could have a, I don't know, name a class called active class, and you could assign it opacity equals 0.7. Instead of saying this.style.opacity equals 0.7, you would say, well in fact I'll go ahead and comment it off, but you would say something like, it would be this dot add class, and then whatever you named it, and you know, would probably be active or whatever you want to name it, dot active, and then you would simply do that. And then down here, instead of this dot remove attribute, you would take this right here, and you would, instead of add class, it would just simply be remove class. Now, if you have a website that has a lot of pictures, this method right here that I'm using would probably be the best method to use. Why? Because it is the best when it comes to memory. It immediately takes away that class. It seems to me that jQuery takes away classes faster than it does amending to certain elements. So if the memory is an issue for you, this second method is exactly what you want to do. But because this is just a tutorial, I'm going to do this first method right here. Both of them will work so long as you add a class inside your style sheet called whatever it is. In my case, I called it active. And as long as you do that, then everything is fine. Okay, so with that, this is Travis. This is the end of the tutorial for Lightbox. Have any questions, answer them in the comments below. I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Until then, see you later.